Hello, people. Welcome to the Seattle Overload podcast, where we're going to take a look at the Seahawks tape from their Week 2 victory over the New England Patriots in New England, the 23-20 W. We appreciate you joining us during Thursday Night Football. It's about to be halftime, so, what would have been good is if we'd gone live at halftime, Griff. But anyway, before we take a look at the tape, give our takes on what happened. Do you have a preamble topic, or are we just gonna do it?
Rogers. Oh man, dude, Rogers just missed Wilson in the Garrett Wilson in the.
I have not missed you being ahead of me on these things.
Yeah, oh, that's right. My bad.
No, not your bad at all.
So I don't know. Preamble topic, Matty. What's something I can annoy you with? What can I annoy?
I never get annoyed.
Really? Is that right?
I'm never annoyed. How dare you say that?
Because you're not annoyed right now.
No, totally not mad.
Yeah. You were listening to opera music earlier today. You told me. Now, was I not supposed to?
Griff, that's perfectly healthy discussion between two male friends.
Yeah.
But private.
It even emotionally moved you. I won't say what it moved you to, but it moved you.
Yeah, well. So, I've been watching The Sopranos for the first time. Have I told you this?
Yes.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
No.
Anyway,
Sopranos, great show.
So I'm like on a big kind of cliche thing. I want to own like velour tracksuits and and obviously I've just been to Italy as well.
Yeah, well, tracksuits are in Europe, right? Like not just Eastern Europe, like everywhere. Like if you go to downtown London, there's like lots of blokes with like an Adidas.
Oh yeah, everyone's in them. Look right now. That's a tracksuit jacket, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, sure.
It's just an awful preamble.
Anyway, so you were watching Sopranos, and how does this?
Yeah, I'm just on a big Italian thing. Like Italy's great. It's like last year I went to Spain, and I'm like Spain's great. Now I'm like Italy's great. I think just Europe's really good, whereas the UK ain't.
Well, I think what's going on here is you're used to the UK. So I'm sure that Spanish tourists in the UK are like, oh, hey, look, it's Hadrian's.
Yeah, they love it. They're like, wow, we love this rain.
So people do many continentals travel to the UK often? Like, do they go to Buckingham Palace and take pictures with the guards and stuff? Is it a big deal for them, or is that mostly Americans?
Every village travels. It's like a pilgrimage.
but do they queue up? Like, will you find? Is it common to be in downtown London and just to hear French people speaking French, like occasionally? Because like they're a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah, well, London. If you walked around London, you'd probably hear about, say, 10 different languages.
See, that's really cool. That's
cool. Yeah, very, very cool.
Yeah.
Multiculturalism, big fan.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
That's cool.
That was weak.
And the world is a vast place with lots of diversity. Sometimes it all happens in one place. That's pretty cool.
You should have saved that for the closing wisdom part.
That's not wisdom, though. That's ABCs of humanity, Matty. All right, Matty, hit it. We got tape to get to.
I'm trying to hit it, but I don't know how to. I don't know where all our banners have gone.
My apologies to the missus. Okay, hit it, Matty.
Welcome to the Seattle Overload Seahawks tape review, where we're going to look at Week 2, where the Seahawks defeated the New England Patriots 23-20. We've got offense film, defense film, live chat on YouTube is going to help us decide what we look at. But before that, we can do a brief summary. And Griff, first of all, who won? Because I predicted a 24-20 Seattle victory, and you predicted
No. You predicted 23-20. I predicted 24.
No. I predicted 24-21. You predicted 23-20. No, you
No,
predicted
no.
24-20. This is shambolic.
You've successfully gaslit me now because I don't remember anymore. I thought I knew, and now I'm truly
No,
questioning.
I definitely predicted 24-21, and you predicted 23-21.
I don't think
Or
so.
24-20.
I knew that I think we were 1 point away, 1 point difference.
I think I had the point spread, like the 3-point differential, correct, and you had the Seahawks total correct.
Okay.
But then I don't know.
I don't.
This was not the best start to a podcast. I don't know
No,
why I
it's
just
really good,
threw that
actually.
curveball in there.
No, it's really good.
Hey Griff, did
anyway,
you like baseball analogies?
Yeah.
Did you like that one? Have you heard that one before? A curveball?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Now that we've got that part out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a close game. It was the game went how we thought. I didn't necessarily think it would go the way that it went. I would have thought it would have been a little more balanced between the pass and the run for New England in terms of how Seattle would yield a little bit, like yield more to the Broncos, but more or less the same. Than on offense, I mean, I thought they were going to move the ball, but I thought they were going to they weren't going to score a lot of points, regardless of how that happened, whether red zone stalling. Now, they only had how many actual red zone drives did they have, but then also a lack of air yard explosives to really tilt the field. Now, of course, we had the one big DK one, right? But other than that, like they only had one completion over 20 yards of air yards. They had some that with some yak, they got more, but
Yep.
So.
But Griff, what did the tape, like having watched the tape, brief summary here before we actually go a bit deeper, did the tape change your mind on anything, or did it confirm what you'd seen from the broadcast?
It again is just confirming what we were seeing. Everything there's no mystery about this team so far. The strengths are the strengths, and the weaknesses or kinks, whatever you want to call them, are the weaknesses and the kinks, and they can unravel some or what do you call it? Unravel those knots. And some of it they can't probably because it will be the talent just capping the ceiling. But then also we haven't seen the entire ceiling of their strengths either. But they're still performing well where they're strong. So it's really just more of the same, I feel. The run defense problems. There is a 1 high, 2 high discrepancy again. Now they were kind of bad in both, and we'll get into that. Like but week 1 they were good in one and bad in the other. So it is a thing that this defense is going to have trouble fitting the run out of 2 high. And then offensively, the protection really killed a lot of opportunities. Then in spite of that, they still threw for 300 yards and moved up and down the field and stuff. But that still affected them in terms of they only scored 23 points on how many drives? Like 13, 12 drives. That's not very good. That's about being average. So and the run game is part of that. It was just more. Excuse me. It was a vibe confirming game.
And tape study.
And tape study. Now a good percentage of the negative stuff, I think, can be chalked up to first 10 a.m. road game for a new regime, new players. As we get into this more, I want to throw this out there. Of the handful of guys that I think had the worst games relatively, so say Dodson, Baker early on, Connor Williams, Christian Haynes. I might have said this in the post game. I don't remember. But all those guys, they probably had the roughest games overall. They were all East Coast players last year. So this is their first time ever experiencing traveling from the West Coast to the East with, a 10 a.m. body clock, 1 p.m. local time. And maybe that's just something they've never experienced before because Dodson was doing stuff this game poorly that he historically has never done poorly. Like he's always been a good run defender, especially in 1 high. And he was just doing like goofball stuff all game long. And I'm thinking like he just may not be woken up entirely, you know, like where are his eyes right now? So
Julian Love in his
like,
post-game press conference mentioned the early start, like
yeah,
unprompted.
okay, yeah, maybe it was real for them, like a visceral, palpable thing for them. Now Julian, he played okay. I mean, we're not gonna harp on him too much. He gave up the one route to Henry.
Yeah, I should say there was like a narrative that emerged that the reason Henry was kept quiet in the second half was them putting Julian Love on Henry. That's not an accurate narrative. Like Julian
Yeah,
Love on Henry got beat on multiple occasions. And it's man to man, so that will happen. But
yeah,
that wasn't why Henry was kept quiet. I think it was more just the broken plays disappeared. Yeah, defensively, it seems to me like we knew there would be structural issues for the run defense, not just the too high, one high discussion, but also just the types of front that they want to run and run the most often. There's structural issues, like it's on tape last
yeah,
year. I can't keep repeating the same thing, but they had a run defense collapse in Baltimore. And I think Mike McDonald's got some new answers. I think some of those new answers, like a nickel bear front, which I think I counted a total of 2 snaps of that.
yeah.
But
Good to see
they
it,
look. It was good to see it, but they look very rusty and not familiar with it, which might be why we only saw 2 snaps of it. Some of those answers they need fleshing out a bit more, and I think they're trying to find their way into them.
Indeed.
I think that's just a process, but the run defense was troubling to me because the better teams will punish them for that, and they're very close to it being a problem that will lose them a game. And the really what was encouraging is the interior of the defensive line is astonishingly good. Like Leonard Williams had another excellent game.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Hankins was superb, and he's playing like a third of the snaps, so he's not exactly a starting D tackle, but at the same time, his ability to recognize what type of run block he's getting and play the run in a variety of ways is so valuable for them. And then the rookie Byron Murphy is very good as well, and his defeating of cut blocks in this game to get into the backfield was impressive.
His balance is something else.
Yeah, contact balance off the charts. The linebackers were okay. I think we said it on the broadcast, and I just echo your overall sentiment that the tape matched what our first impressions were of the broadcast, which was on the defensive side, run defense, there's going to be some problems. Yep, there were some problems. Tyree Snight, eyes looked a bit slow. And then on the offensive side, an absolutely astonishing game by Geno Smith. I mean, SIS, Sports Info Solutions Football, charted Smith as having a 92.7% on-target percentage in Week 2 versus the Patriots. 325 quarterbacks have thrown 44 or more passes in a regular season game since 2019. That on-target percentage from Geno is the highest of any of those 325 quarterbacks. He, of course, being one of them, given you through.
That's nuts. That's nuts. And when we dig into the offense, like we're going to contextualize like just how insane Geno's game was because of some of the buckets, if you will, that Grubb is living in, and the buckets that he isn't living in. So where this production is being sourced to is like it's top shelf quarterback stuff. To give a little preview, they're scheming in the dropback game the way McVay schemes with Stafford, and I think that's in part why. Hold on.
Well, we'll never know why. We'll never know in part why. But I think the reason one of Griff's dogs, maybe multiple dogs, are getting excited is they are treating Geno like a gunslinger.
They're treating him like a gunslinger, but not just any old gunslinger. This is not Sean McVay throwing 60% of the time with Jared Goff. This is Sean McVay throwing 60% of the time with Matt Stafford in the design and in the what the principles of the offense and what the subtext of those principles are. It's that Geno's the guy. And I'm not saying Geno is as good as Stafford, but on the Goff to Stafford continuum, he's closer to Stafford than he is Goff. I feel pretty comfortable about that right now. He can handle we know he can drive the ball downfield. He can make quote unquote all the throws, but he can handle so many variables, so much the protection, the pressure, changing pictures in the secondary, still being able to get off pinpoint throws, making sure that he always has a firm base, because off base, off platform, he's not a good thrower of the football. So he's extremely good at staying on base. The stuff he's doing in the pocket reminds me of like peak 2016 level Matt Ryan, the way Ryan moves in the pocket. Some really incredible stuff, because Ryan himself off platform is not a great thrower. On platform, Ryan could do just about everything. He's like a more athletic Matt Ryan overall right now. And again, peak Matt Ryan, you take his best year, put it up there with anybody just below Brady, Breeze, Manning, frankly, Rodgers, like just below those guys. You can't play quarterback better than that, realistically. That's what Geno looks like right now to me. So, if he can sustain this for a whole year, that's the question, right? Can he sustain it? I think he can. Can the conditions around him give him some margin for error so that he doesn't need to be like locked in all the time? Can he breathe a little bit? Give him a little bit of breathing room and he'll take care of the rest, man. We've seen that from him. So incredible stuff there.
So Geno Smith wasn't the guy who got the game ball afterwards, McDonald giving, I think, 3 out after each game. But instead, despite describing his quarterback's performance as dynamite, he gave it instead to offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb. What I've seen, Grubb came under some criticism, believe it or not, as can happen, particularly to an offensive play caller. But Griff, what did you make of his game? Because my thinking with that is, well, obviously they had the DK Metcalf easy touchdown pass for Geno Smith where the Pats busted a coverage after a clever Grubb play. They also caught the Pats in like another busted coverage after going up tempo where DK was open again for what would have been a second long touchdown. But instead, pass pro couldn't hold up. Geno almost threw a pick when he was hit as he was trying to get it to DK. Yeah. But yeah, Griff, what do you think about Grubb getting the game ball? It's kind of weird giving it to a coach, no? Like in front of all the players. It's kind of like...
Yeah, that is interesting. I think maybe it's like a welcome to the NFL moment, like... Sure. Probably something like that. Wanting to give his staff their flowers, right? Because then Grubb is going to talk to the rest of his staff who's on the offensive side of the ball and disperse credit, right? And make everyone feel good. I think they're just trying to capture the vibes because they won the game, with a game-winning field goal and all that. So makes sense to me. My perspective on Grubb right now can be summarized as one, generally, zooming out. I'm all in on Grubb, great OC, if not a very good OC, right? Offense is going to, I predict we're going to see this team ceiling. There's not going to be untapped potential by the time all things are said and done, I think. So the subtext there is I think the O-line will improve and Grubb will work out some things that I think he needs to work out. To this point, though, how I would characterize Grubb through 2 games, a whopping 2 games, is that tactically he's awesome. Strategically, they're not optimizing themselves yet. There's some things that are some things that are left to be desired, I think. So like, what do I mean there tangibly? Well, so they're not using a whole lot of under center. They're using very, very little. And then they're not offsetting that with like some pistol either. So they're becoming... Which
we saw pistol in the preseason. So we
know
like any offense that exists. It's interesting, I don't know how much pistol we saw with Geno. It was more like a Sam Howell thing, whether they view it more as like a a method for like a QB they're willing to involve in the run game. Not that they're unwilling to involve Geno, but we just haven't seen it yet.
Right. Totally. Yeah. And like Grubb used pistol at UW. Like we know he has, he just hasn't used it yet. So like the pistol thing is I'm only even bringing that up just because there's so little under center. And then within under center, if we reduce it down for the sake of conversation, in under center, the league is only doing two things. You're either running or running play action concepts off of those run looks. So the whole point of an under center run is that you get to reap the rewards of an under center play action attempt. Well, their pass rate within under center is 17% right now. That's extraordinarily low. Most teams, like league average, is like 30%. The Seahawks in particular really take advantage of the under center play action button. They spam that button, and they're usually pushing 40%. They're usually near the top of the league with that. I'm sure that number will rise, but maybe that was a Pete thing, because through 3 different OCs, his under center play action pass rate was extremely high.
Well, we know Pete loved taking the under center play action shots, right, Griff? And obviously, it's a lot of this is to be decided, isn't it? But it's very interesting to monitor it, whether it is something that is part of Grubb's approach, or if they're gonna suddenly break tendency. And it would be surprising to me if they left meat on the bone of under center play action, given how effective Geno Smith has been at it, and just league wide it has been fairly effective. Play action is effective.
Absolutely. Yeah. So again, to predict, I expect a lot of under center play action this week against Miami, and if not, against the Lions for sure. He wants to get all their run formations out there, and maybe it's a check at the line. Maybe they're like, all right, well, they're standing too high, so we're going to run it to let teams know that, when you play a 2-eye shell on us, we're going to run the ball, and we're going to punish you for it. Practice needs to meet theory there a little bit, because we know there have been run game issues to this point. It's a little up and down there, complicated, but so by virtue of very little under center play action, there's very little play action in general. And it's like Geno Smith and the Seahawks last year were a top 3 play action team. And they also used it at an incredibly high rate, like 5th or 6th in the league. And so far, only 9% of their dropbacks have been play action. Or no, I think 12% of their dropbacks and 9% of their total snaps or something. So it's just, you're talking about a bucket that Geno does statistically very well in, that they are underusing to this point. So that's another thing. Now, again, only 2 games of data, a third game where they
struggling offensive line as well, Griff, where you'd think play action might help them, but I just anecdotally, I remember one play where they tried a deep play action shot from under center and the guard got rushed bad.
Right. So a third game could skew this data, and they could climb halfway up the chart or even higher on some of these rankings. But so it's stuff like that. I have some minor quibbles with what they're doing out of empty, but again, only 2 games. There's more to come. The reason why I'm going to harp on empty a lot this year, though, is because that was such an effective package last year. And whatever misgivings people have about Shane Waldron in general, there's one thing. If you're going to list out the things he does too well, his empty package is really good. It is. And that shouldn't be surprising. Sean McVay is the tree he comes from. They all have.
Well, and he's had a cup of coffee with the Patriots, right?
With the Patriots as well, who are renowned for their manipulation of personnel packages to influence the structure of defenses. His obsession with 12 personnel was that's definitely, you think the Patriots, right? When you hear that, especially when he was there with Gronk and the other tight end that we don't need to name drop. But that said, the stuff that was good, so tactically, his 7-step drop back game, which he's using a lot of. And when I mentioned earlier about how there's subtext and what they think of their quarterback based off of how they're scheming, team 7-step drop back offense is hard. You only do that when you have a dude at quarterback. They're 30% of their dropbacks right now is 7-step. There's only 3 teams any given year that even exceed 20%.
Mm-hmm.
because Peyton Manning doesn't exist anymore, because Drew Brees retired, because Tom's retired, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The guys who do it the most right now is like McVay and Stafford. And then the Seahawks last year were like 12%, and that ranked like 7th or 8th in terms of frequency. And Geno's numbers were good in it. So when we look at if you just put up a cut up of all their 7-step drop offense, ran from shotgun, the quarterback's taking a 5-step drop. That's a 7-step concept. If you just put together a cut up of it, like Grubb is getting guys open left and right downfield. He's doing all sorts of stuff. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter because the O-line is nuking the play. But it's like, if they had protection, there's a bunch of air yard touchdowns waiting at the end of the O-line development tunnel waiting for them when the protection catches up. But so far it hasn't. But that said, Geno is, what is he, 6th or 7th in passing EPA. So what bucket is sourced to that? It's the 5-step game. So that's where Grubb is hitting doubles. He's hitting a lot of doubles. Their 5-step drop back game, particularly out of trips, 3x1, and doubles, 2x2. So that's where they're really cooking, and that's great.
And Griff, when you say, just for the listener, 7-step drop back in the shotgun is what versus 5-step? Sorry.
So a 7-step drop concept from shotgun, the quarterback's taking 5 steps. A 5-step drop from shotgun, the quarterback's taking 3. Yeah. A quick game drop. Go ahead.
You're talking in like under center terms there, right? Like the traditional terms, which is what the charting companies put it down as.
You're right. So it all goes back. When someone says a 7-step drop concept, they're referring to historically those drops coming from under center. But in 2010, about the whole league shifted to shotgun for their drop back stuff. And then true under center dropbacks, non-play action is just more like a change-up call that you see on occasion. So, so Grubb there's lots of positive signs. The offense is really cool. They've got a lot of knots though, and they'll untie those. They'll unwork those.
Yeah.
The question will be, does the protection improve, or does Grubb adapt the offense to fit the protection?
Right. Because,
or can they meet in the middle, right?
Right. Because on your point about adapt the offense, it's kind of crazy to me that they have had so many deep dropbacks still despite the pressure and the O-line struggles. Right. And yeah, sure, there's been some third and longs, but they've been fairly on schedule.
Yeah. Right. So, I don't know, tape-wise, we're going to look at probably what went wrong in the run game and then look at what went right in the passing game.
Offense-wise?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. That sounds good, because that's the one thing the tape showed me was, I know there was some, theorizing about how different would this have looked with Kenneth Walker carrying the rock, and I can see some discussion in the chat about maybe McIntosh being involved. But ultimately, and again, it's so easy to bash the offensive line. There's a lot of things which go into struggling blocking, be it pass or run, but they got their butts kicked in the trenches. Like, the Pats were resetting the line of scrimmage hard, and I don't know if, Walker might have cut back a run and boosted his yards per carry by creating a play with his agility and burst, but ultimately I didn't see many opportunities on the ground game. Griff, I don't know if you disagree. Would you pull Charbonnet into this as a critique, or was it more run blocking issue?
There might have been some plays where maybe Charbonnet could have helped himself a little bit more, but generally I don't think the lanes are there. You give Charbonnet a little bit of like D-line displacement, and he'll make the O-line right typically and be really efficient with it. This was definitely the game where you needed a Walker type to make lemonade out of lemons. You needed Ken Walker going full C mic on some of this stuff, and full Kristen Michael. So I like Charbonnet. Charbonnet's credit, he's a very good football player. Like, the blocking and the receiving was really good, really to the point. But Ken Walker matters. I think we can say that he matters for sure.
On that subject, Should we get to the tape then? Oh.
Yes, we should.
We've got some questions on the which we can get to now. With the struggles of the offensive line and Laken Tomlinson being 32 years old, is there any value moving Anthony Bradford to left guard and Christian Haynes at right guard? Some long-term viability there at least. Seems unnecessary to do that to Laken Tomlinson. I actually think Mike McDonald's hinted in his Radio Monday interview that Christian Haynes he'd like to see him play some more snaps, and keep the competition going with Anthony Bradford, suggesting that if anyone's going to miss out, it will be Bradford. That being said, I think they view Haynes, Brandon, with what you described. I think the long-term vision is Haynes left and Bradford on the right. Griff, thoughts on what Brandon's just asked there?
I mean, I wouldn't be against trying Haynes out at left guard. He did a little bit of that in preseason. Bradford, I don't know. I'm kind of back on the give Bradford a chance train. And I mean,
he was okay this game, right?
Yeah, he was okay.
Better.
He was definitely better. He was definitely better at protection. I don't know if he was good, but he was better. It was really Connor Williams that gave him the most trouble inside. But
he seemed to struggle previous week, not having a head up nose so much.
Yeah.
This week having just a big 0, that was a problem for him.
Yeah, good point. So I feel like if you're going to take snaps away from someone, take it away from the vet. If you're trying to go for long term here, I don't know. I'm not against it, Brandon, to answer your question.
Right. The rest of them are... and then Brandon's asking about Charbonnet, which we've kind of discussed. Right. Here's the... let me just get my pen up here. Let me just check out the chat. This is a good question from Vince. What are you seeing from Noah Fant on the tape, the tight end who the Seahawks paid significant money to? If I remember a message from you saying you didn't think he looked 100%, maybe, on a break.
Yeah, I mean, he does not look like he's an athlete, right? He doesn't look like an athlete right now. I don't know what's going on there, man. The blocking isn't great. The routes he is slow at the top of his break. They run him on some dig routes. It's not looking great there. He's dropping. He got some weird drops. Does he have 2 drops on the season already? That's not great, man. Like gimmies, not tough catches at all. And he's never been a blocker. The blocking on screens haven't been great.
I mean that first one of the first plays where they've designed his position to be make the key point of attack block, and he blocks worse than. No, he may as well have not been on the play almost.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Yeah, so I'm rooting for him. I've always liked Noah. We love the idea behind him. He's made some cool catches in Seattle. But even if he could do that, he's not going to get the targets, man. He's not going to get the targets. I would rather.
If only you'd mentioned about how the Seahawks spent their cap this offseason. Right. Here's the film then.
We should have tweeted more.
We? Right. Let's get rid of this. Now, Griff, do you have timestamps, or are we going to cycle through?
We're gonna wing it.
Oh gosh. Oh blimey. Goodness me.
Oh bother. Oh dear.
So this is the the nose isn't a 0, but it's a bigger body, and he's playing heavy to the center, which is what Connor Williams had some difficulties with. I mean, now
is that Brandon Mebane?
just look how every lineman gets smacked back at the line.
If you photoshopped in or edited in Brandon Mebane's number and jersey and you told me this is any given Brandon Mebane snap, I believe you.
Really? He's too big, no? Like
90,
in the hips. Too wide the
92?
hips.
That's
Yeah,
very
too
Mebane.
wide.
That's very Mebane.
Griff, just because they're wearing the same number doesn't mean they look the same.
He's same leverage, same movement skills, same. That's a very even in his stance, he looks like Mebane. You don't see it?
Something's throwing me off. It might be the shoulder pads. They look too wide.
Mebane was huge, bro.
I'm not saying... Look, I'm not...
Do not disrespect the size of Brandon Mebane, Matty.
I'm not doing... I'm
he was
saying Mebane's not wide in the ways this guy's wide. Mebane was wide in other areas.
Mebane was perfectly wide the way he needed to be.
Look, I liked how wide Brandon Mebane was.
I feel like you're underrating the width of Brandon Mebane.
I feel like you've got me on tilt here.
You need to go watch. Okay, anyway.
Are we ready now?
Yeah, we're ready.
That was great. Thank you. Yeah, so basically watch 48 absolutely rock. Is that fan?
Yep.
God damn it. It's so difficult having a tight end who's paid so much and yet you can't really, like, every inline rep is like replacement level.
Yeah. All right, so this is outside zone.
Yeah.
More like wide zone. No, it's outside zone.
Yeah. 92 has a good rep. Mebane.
They get decent movement on 95. Is that Dietrich Wise?
Yeah, there's a nice combo going on here, right?
Yeah.
Between Tomlinson and Cross.
Now, Forsyth actually reaches White.
Yeah, this is impressive. He's trying to split the combo. This is nice.
Yeah. So this right here is why 5-man fronts take down zone really easily, because you can't combo everybody. 92 is not comboed. It's one-on-one, and Connor can't block him at the moment.
And 48's one-on-one with the tight end as your primary edge.
Yeah.
And so you cut back into an unblocked hitter, and you're one-on-one in like the first cutback lane, right?
Right.
But would Walker have been able to, Griff, cut here?
Yeah, actually. Well, with the backside pursuit, hard to say.
Probably not. Why do you think the Patriots shaded their nose like this? I'd need to study it more.
Yeah, it might be for that reason, to get to try to get the nose one singled up. Because if he was in a 0, Bradford might combo him.
Right.
Or if the left guard blocks back a little bit and doesn't combo the 4-eye, then the 4-eye could work inside a little bit on cross. So someone gets singled up.
What's coverage here?
It's a fire zone. Is it?
It's weird.
Send the nickel.
One thing I'd say, and we might be seeing it tonight in Thursday Night Football, but the Pats were way more Wait, is it this guy who's dropping? I think it is. Yeah. The Pats were way more disorganized on this tape defensively than I expected. Like, it wasn't just the Metcalf thing, but it seemed like there was a lot going on with them, and they weren't quite sure and stuff. Brandon asking, hey, Matty or Griff, is the issues with Connor Williams just lack of reps and strength training due to his injury? He seems really bad right now, not stuff we've seen from him last couple of years. I mean, I think that's harsh, Brandon. Like, he was solid in that first game. Really solid. I think it was really just he's dealing with a big nose and the rest of the guys are struggling around him. And I mean, Griff, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, I think so. 10 a.m. road game. I don't think he's 100%. All that stuff I think is applying for sure.
So, Griff, oh gosh, that's not what I meant to do. Golly Moses. Okay. So, Griff was talking about empty usage. So, why is empty cool? Well, there's a number of reasons. First of all, you're likely to get a coverage indicator. So, this is a running back. This is a corner. Corner out wide on a running back. They're not going to play man-to-man, are they? Because that would then mean that you're putting a linebacker in man-to-man on a receiver. If it's man-to-man, this will be a linebacker out here. You've only got so many bodies. So the fact it's a corner out here, we know it's zone. QB knows it's zone. Some really good teams will lie and disguise, but it's a bit early in the season for that sort of stuff. Now, spacing is cool, and a big thing which stood out on the broadcast, and we mentioned it after the game, but also on the tape looking back, is Grubb's spacing in particular to beat man coverage. Very impressive. On the flip side, Griff, defensively, Seattle ran a ton of man coverage, which I did anticipate when I was talking to my Patriots friends. Because I think they didn't really respect New England's receivers, which is fair enough. They felt good about their own matchups. But we saw some of the same, another kind of confirmation, right? But we saw some of the same issues that Baltimore had in the second half of the season with their man coverage, where they were like 30th in man coverage and got destroyed via condensed stuff, which the Pats did a really good job of like picking and rubbing, and they could have had some bigger plays too, if not for Seattle's pass rush getting it done up front, which that might just be what the season looks like.
Could be.
Anyway, back to the empty formation.
Yeah, so they're running
like drive, and then
it's smash at the bottom, and then they're running
drive
like levels. It's more like levels backside because you got trips. I mean, you could call it drive, but when it's trips and you get like the number one on a fin that Charbonnet's doing up top, I think offensive guys call it. Now, contradicting myself a little bit because I said some things were predictable. The number 3 Noah is off the ball, so usually when a receiver's on the ball, in this case DK up top is on the ball. Usually that receiver's running something vertical.
Where's DK?
The number 2 in the slot up top. So no, that's not always the case. So this is a case where Grubb is doing something a little different, but like to the bottom of the screen, like that's a burst smash indicator. You've got the number 1 on the ball, the 2 off the ball. They're either running Tyler on a go and then Jackson on a quick out, or they're running Tyler on like an inside stemming corner. You call it a burst corner route, and then Jackson to the flat. So like these downfield looks don't really materialize often out of empty because especially as the game went on, like they just became really predictable out of empty. And their success rate right now is like 33%. And they run empty the second most, and that's a really low success rate. So we get the look. I mean, smash is not a bad call against potentially cover 2, right? You're supposed
and
to call that.
And they get cover 2.
Yeah. The corner plays it high, he goes to the flat, and they pick up a handful of yards.
Yeah.
So that's all well and dandy. But this would be one of their few successful empty clips.
And what you said about the splits is something to monitor because there are tells for that. Let me know when you want to stop again. Oh, this is the play. I mean, you saw it on the broadcast, but basically
that Barner?
Formation wise, you feel pretty good here, right? Like
Yep,
you've got a run now. Two high safeties handing this ball off against what is almost looking like a very light box, isn't it? Like
yep.
he's kind of popping out here. So this is a 5-man box, and we've got 6 in here. So that would be tempting to hand this ball off, but Geno decides, and it's probably in the script of the play still. Geno decides to throw this. And Fant just has a disappointing
Oh, that
block.
is Fant, not Barner. My bad. Yeah,
But they've designed it because this is your tight end. He's meant to be your better blocker than your receivers, and it's a tough block because this guy's down, but it's one you'd expect him to make. The problem is he gets knocked back so much because really you'd want him. It's fine if the defender has the leverage in the way that if I just put it here. If the defender has the leverage here and we can block out here, it's fine to have an alley in between, right?
and like you said, that's a cover 2 safety, not a quarter safety. So he's given extra depth.
Yeah, like you've got all of this to play with. But the problem is Fant gets absolutely rocked backwards. He can't anchor or anything. There's no sand in his pants. And so, yeah, because JSN did an okay job initially, but he's also a corner. Like he's not your. He's also a receiver. He's not meant to be your best blocker. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's a good look. I'm not gonna. That's a good play call from Grubb. That's where you should be doing screens. And this.
Well, that's where you should just hand the ball off inside.
Or yeah, sure. I mean, either way, it was a good screen look and a good run look. But it's an RPO bubble, probably. Do you think?
I think maybe a preordained one if they got the look to throw the bubble because it's opening script type stuff. But yeah, RPO.
Excuse me.
Excuse you.
Right. Thank you. All right, under center. We get
play action. I thought they didn't do it.
So before the snap though, let's keep stock of the formation.
Double wing,
because they're going to run out of this, and then they're also going to motion into this look and motion out of this look throughout the year. But like this will be the base picture. So they're going to run a lot of different play action concepts off of this look too. So you could fathom, which we see later. You could fathom the strike, the drift route, like the speed cut dig for DK. You could also fathom that double read, the double stop play where both of them curl up, or they keep going depending on what the safety does, right? Could keep going because it's an option route. You're going to do a lot of stuff. We could also see Yankee out of this, or like Yankee return. There it is. Yeah, so we're going to see a lot of different plays off of this picture right here. It will be the Al Pacino meme where it's like, what a picture. Like this picture freeze frame, and we'll see like 10 different things off of it throughout the year.
And why offense coordinators like formations like this is because it's very balanced. Like there's one receiver here, there's one receiver here, there's one wing here, there's one wing here. So you're getting predictable coverage contours on the back end. Like that is very clearly middle field open, middle field closed, one high safety. You're getting cover 3 or cover 1 here. For a team to disguise here, it's very difficult for them to do that. It's also 12 personnel, so you're very likely to force them to be in base defense. You're creating one-on-ones outside for those type of deep plays Griff was talking about with this guy in the post, and then you can play around with how you conflict him to drive or go deep. So you're getting predictable coverages from the defense by lining up like this.
Yeah. So that's
play action.
That said, agreed. What do we get here? What actually happens?
I think we get 5 zone, right?
Do we get the double read play? No. Okay, all right. It's this play. Okay, I remember. So this is kind of a play that Shanahan runs a lot. And the idea is that you're running such a deep dig, a dig route that kind of develops at 20 yards, that the linebackers are going to peak that route and they're going to see it keep stemming past 15. They're going to be like, all right, that's not really, I don't need to get under this. And then theoretically, the free safety is going to see it stem that deep. And they're going to think, oh, I'm getting a post. So I'm going to play really high.
As in a post from here?
From either.
Because of the depth. They're like, so I need to stay on top of this. Yeah.
Right. And then it cuts underneath them. And then you get over the linebackers, under the safeties. They have so much success with Ayuk with this, as do the Rams, as do the Saints right now with like Derek Carr even. So, but the safety makes a great play. He just plays it honest, which is surprising to me to do that with DK.
Well, I think the reason the safety plays it honest is he's just reading the QB, and what hurts Seattle is this is obviously a play action design, but because of how the Patriots bring pressure into it, Geno has to, well, not Geno. Charbonnet correctly cancels his play fake. Well, actually, is that correct? That's weird, isn't it? We don't know, but they decide, or Charbonnet decides to cancel his play fake because there's a pressure, and they double this blitzer with the tight. He helps out Fan, which it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he just sees the protection.
I mean, if he hadn't done that, Geno's not going to have time to get it off because Fant gets absolutely destroyed.
Right.
But anyway.
So what I find interesting about this is what is the progression, though? What are they doing backside of this play? Because I'm going to assume DK is the first read. Is that JSN running a deep blaze out?
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah. It's a blaze out with a check down in the flat.
It's interesting. But so it doesn't materialize, obviously.
Yeah, and I think it's all just because of the cancelled play fake.
Okay. Like maybe the safety would have taken the threat of the post more seriously if the play fake was
because if you see that, then your eyes are in the mesh, and then you're taking more steps. Like, look, the safety never has to get out of his read. It's also a well-coached safety, I think.
Yeah, 21.
But as soon as you see this, you know that from your cushion, you know you're not going to be able to get that. Like, timing-wise, it has to be this. Like, look when the QB's setting.
Yeah.
Like, he's setting here, so you know that that's there, not there. Anyway, it's just the timing janked up by the lack of the play fake.
Yeah. Rough.
I wonder if Barner will ever outsnap Fan.
Maybe. So I liked this play call. This is fun.
Yeah, this is cool.
Doesn't work. I think Geno's a tick late. But 7-step drop.
And I love the spacing of these guys here. Like, look how tight these two receivers are. Yeah, go ahead, Griff. Sorry.
I was going to say, so 5-step drop from shotgun. So 7-step drop concept. Pretty bold to be running this after how week 1 went. But it's early in the game. You're trusting your protection. You got 6 guys in there. Now, granted, they blocked this up, right? The look is there.
Great protection. Barner with a real good block on the blitzer.
Yeah. You get a late spin into Tampa 2. It's the right read from Geno. 21 makes another really good play, but he's just a tick late. He just needs to speed his process up. Geno does. That ball needed to come out like a beat sooner, and then JSN catches it and is tackled as caught. You think?
I don't know, because he's trying to hit here, right? He's reading that out. And then he has to wait for this to clear, and the corner's got such depth. I think it's just a sucky down and distance thing.
I think right now the ball needs to be out.
Oh,
Or
that's
needs to
tough.
start the motion. He needs to start the motion.
Yeah, he's still looking here. He wanted this, right?
You think so?
Yeah, I think like just look at I don't know who that is, but look, he's only
That's
moving now off it. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Either way, for that to work, it needed to come out a beat sooner.
But a very cool way of like accessing space left by his own coverage.
Certainly. I mean, it's dagger, right? Effectively.
Yeah, or like I mean I think
Or is
live
this?
I thought it's double posts, but I mean it's the same premise as Dagger where this is going to run off our deep guy, this is going to bend inside of the curl or the strong hook or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And inside of our corner. I wondered if this was quarters over here, but I don't think so with the pole.
Yeah. The safety technique is really soft.
Yeah.
Which makes him nailing down like that all the more impressive.
Yeah.
Get the ball right now. Like that extra little hitch he does, that extra one.
Yeah.
Like, that's what throws the play off, I think.
Yeah.
Which it
and the other
makes me
thing
wonder,
as well
like,
is go ahead.
Just real quick, why does Grubb, why does he scheme it so high? Why doesn't he throttle it down a few yards? That's more my question. Like, why
Because
is
it's
he?
3rd and 15.
Oh. True. Hey, context. There you go.
But also, if we were able to get this guy into the flat, just to get this guy expanding a bit more, would
Sure.
Be useful.
Sure.
Anyway. What do you even call this? It's like spacing. Like, here's a snag, and then here we've got this. Spacing, right?
Yeah, it's spacing.
This is like his go-to quick game.
Yeah, that's like his only full field quick game.
Right.
Because
interesting. Geno opens that way, and then
I think that's Geno choice. I think that's him gaming the linebackers.
Yeah, just looking them there.
Yeah, it's just him channeling his inner Phillip Rivers. The footwork is interesting.
In what way?
It kind of adds. I don't know. Does he add to it? It's more like a step punch and then like a shuffle.
Fire. Yeah.
Instead of, I don't know. Quick game though, we should mention on the season, at least according to SIS's numbers, they're 8 for 8 for 17 yards. Not great.
Well, they've completed all 8.
They've completed all of them, but for 17 yards. Yeah. I think the screens are baked into that sample.
Yeah, that sounds very screen-like to me.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Yeah, it is neat.
Like it's like it's almost like shovel option.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Lot of conflict for this guy.
Indeed. That's crafty. See that's like cute small ball stuff that works.
Any plays you want to look at, Griff, in particular?
We should look at that big JSN throw.
Oh my god! Yeah,
and then also the JSN's blaze out too. That's a crazy route. Well, actually, it was a good route. Yeah, it's this one, but it was a crazy throw from Geno. I
It's
know it's
not
not
this
that
one.
one. Oh,
This is an
so
empty
we
play.
can we can talk about this one. So first off, again, it's that formation to the 2-man side. And like look at the depth of the corners because they're sitting on these routes. And then DK's on the ball, Charbonnet's off the ball, plus he's a running back. So they know that DK is doing something vertical. And sure enough, he runs a slot fade, right? It's hitch fade.
Yep.
So again, like they didn't have a great game out of empty this game.
But what's wrong with this, Griff? Like, they know it's zone because there's a corner out here. This corner's cheating for the fade, so you've got all this space out here. So you throw the hitch outside, right?
No, it's totally fine. It's just, I mean, the theory isn't bad. There's
It's
just not enough.
unfortunate it didn't get a first down. I would say that in third and medium.
There's just not enough accenting this type of thing. I feel. I don't know. There's more to come. They have more offense. Do you think that's a choice route up top from Bobo?
Well, because we've seen the same play, right? But it broke flat. You think it's a read of how this is played out?
Because it's a cloud situation, so you can't break in because there's a curl defender. You can't break out because there's a cloud defender. So you just sit down.
Yeah, maybe.
I want to see Geno try to throw the whole shot, eventually on the corner route.
They had so many openings in this game. Oh my god, DK's wide open there. Obviously, it's not designed to go to him.
Yeah.
But this is like an example of there's a few of these more egregious as well, where a bit more protection, and the ball might get there because anyway, this isn't the best play because it's obviously this is the alert, and then it's reading this and this, which isn't really there. And so then it's progressing to the blaze out, right?
Yeah.
Which is an incredible throw.
Yeah.
In a lot of pressure.
Space. Yeah. I mean, just like give Geno a pocket, man. Who loses on the O line? Who's losing here? Connor and Haynes.
Williams has a tough rep against the twist.
Yeah.
Yeah, Haynes has a tough moment, but he's not helped by the twist. He kind of recovered okay. It was the twist.
Yeah. I mean, he gives him just enough time.
Yep.
Nice snag by JSN.
Good concentration, low and away. Yep. Now, what about that amazing play to Jess? Oh, there's this 12 personnel formation we spoke about again, the double wing look.
Yeah.
This time trying a tunnel, which
I like that they're doing that from under center. That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
now, the look here
is
not
interesting.
It's not ideal. So, I mean, they achieve the effect of getting the edge defender biting on the run fake, right?
No, because it's this guy.
Oh, so he recovers.
Yeah, he reads that the tackle is doing something, and he makes a good play, to be fair.
If he's not there, it's the mic that he has to worry about.
The who has to worry about?
DK.
Cross? DK?
Well, because he was unblocked.
It's a touchdown if he's not there. Because it would be...
Right, but then the mic, I think, gets involved, or the will.
Well, this guy?
Yeah. We'll roll the clip. You'll see.
Whoa. Okay.
Not to backseat drive too much. If he's not there,
No,
I mean,
because
I'm not saying worry. I'm saying he was the only guy they'd have to beat realistically.
if this guy's not there.
If he's not there, right? If he's not there, 58, whoever that, you think he gets upfield that quick?
Yeah, this guy can't run like that.
Okay. I don't know. Things happen quick, man. Yeah, you're probably right. So again, like not bad design from Grubb, but the blocking isn't there. I mean, it's funny when people say like, "Oh, what a horribly designed screen," or "Why are you calling screens?" Basic arithmetic is not that hard. Play callers usually are only calling screens when the looks are advantageous. The rest comes down to the blocking of your players, and you're asking your tight ends and receivers to block. Most of them aren't good blockers, but man, you gotta block a corner occasionally, man.
I'm so interested in you saying you didn't like their empty stuff.
There's too much 7-step offense in it.
But this is like one of the biggest plays of the game.
Well, what this play right now?
Yeah.
Look, it's covered. I mean, he commits DPI, but isn't that the point? Like it's covered. like who is on the ball?
Really, like if you're in a
Like,
perfect world, you throw as soon as you see it covered like this, you throw Defant on the out, right? But Geno's being pressured to crap, so he just gets rid of it.
and this is stick. This is technically.
Well, it's like Hoss. I mean, it's kind of their equivalent of Hoss.
Actually, it's choice. This is technically a 5-step concept, even though the stick is a quick game concept. When it's attached to the backside, you've got choice up top. But like Geno clearly pre-snap isn't even looking to the choice, which makes sense because he knows they're going to play 4/2 weak side for some reason. So the right read, it's 3/3 on the bottom. So it's a 1-on-1. I'm just saying, man, like they don't have. It's just another fade, another slot fade with 2 on the ball.
But I think, ironically, the reason they did all this empty was to try and get them to be clearer in their coverage contour, and it's very obvious that 1-on-1, 1-on-1, 1-on-1.
Granted,
that's all it was.
Granted, and you're trying to get your best receivers those matchups, right? Like Tyler in the slot. It's just the route concept diversity over the course of the game. Like Like right now, it's not a tell. It's not a tell right now. Now the quarter might have a hunch, right? But it's not a tell yet. The second half, these themes are still there. So there's no quote unquote adjustments. People love that word. This is still a problem in the second half, and the routes don't develop. Again, they threw a lot of fade routes and a lot of wheel routes this game. They didn't complete any of them. They should have completed the one to JSN, but like you got DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. You're featuring slot fades, you're featuring slot wheels, and you can't hit them. Like they hit other stuff, but I'm just saying, like local to empty, they didn't have a lot of luck this game. They also can't protect 4. He's getting hit on a stick concept. It's empty. You're protecting with 5. Like, come on. You got to find a way to get staples with 6-man pro.
Clever from the Patriots, where they're showing a 5-0 look, 5 guys down. So Seattle goes man-on-man pass pro, and then the Pats drop this guy out, and they get 4 bodies over to the 2 side, which is an interesting choice. And then they run a little exchange here, and Bradford is unable. It's not Bradford, sorry. Haynes is unable at right guard to handle it that good.
Yeah.
Which again, if you're coming in for bit part action and you're also playing with Stone Forsyth, I don't know how many reps these guys have had together, but there's a chemistry part of it. But ultimately, Haynes just turns too much and gets. They're also expecting the ball out, but yeah.
Yeah. Now they do get DPI. I didn't agree with that DPI call live. How did you feel about it?
No, it's crazy, and it's also not a catchable pass.
That's just defense, man.
That should be an uncatchable ball. Like no one's catching that pass.
Yeah, and why is it uncatchable? Because Geno's pressured.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't like the ethos behind empty right now. I'm not saying there isn't a thought process to it, but it should be more possession oriented, I think, especially with this O-line. So here, this is a screen that works. Well, it's 2nd and 20, right? Or what is it? First.
Yeah, the mid screen was a thing in this game.
Yeah.
I want to find the JSM play, Griff.
I love this play. Okay, we should talk about this play. Now, it has only worked one time. It worked against Denver. But this is one of his favorite trips concepts where the number 3 runs a clear out, a deep over. And then 2 runs, the number 2 fan in this case runs like a deep, he sits down like just inside the hash. And then the number 1 has like an option, like a sight read, where he can either run a dig or he can just sit down and kind of curl up at the intermediate. And it really stresses zone because you're putting 3 guys at the high intermediate area. That really like expand, horizontally conflicts the interior zone defenders. It's good for any call, really. Cover 2, quarters, cover 3. And then that shallow route that you just highlighted, that can additionally pin down one of the interior guys to further open up one of those outside routes, either from the number 1 or number 2. So it's a cool play. It's stuff that like Andy Reid was running like in 2018, 2019.
Yeah, it's like I wonder if it's like nestled. It's like 4 verts, right?
Yeah.
Like this, but we have the option to sit down in hold, and I'd be interested to see at what point that happens.
Yeah. Now, had the pressure not come here, ideally he hits Fant. Like he sees that coming open.
Yeah, this is interesting because it's it's 3rd and 9. That's interesting. It's just Geno trying to stay on schedule, right? Now, also interesting shift from Grubb where they do this quite a lot, and I think it's just trying to get them to tip who's matched up with who and the coverage. Cool spacing between these guys as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting he doesn't hold out longer. He wants to hit Fan, doesn't he? But ultimately, there is a lot of bodies here. It hasn't really... They've got good depth in their hooks. And the corner's so far off. Like, they've got serious depth. Like, the check down makes sense.
Yeah. So, but like the principle here is the weak hook is ran off, right? The strong hook, if he squeezes to the window of the number 1, you throw the middle sit. If he squeezes to the hash, you throw the outside sit, right?
I drew that wrong. Yeah, so this guy's in a bind.
Horizontally.
This guy you hope is here. Although it's interesting how... Yeah, Fan does get open, I guess, but it just takes too long.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Because this guy's expanding here for this.
It's another example of the category of cool grub thing that doesn't work because of the O-line.
You're straight up just blaming the O-line.
Well, I mean, it is cool design, isn't it? Like,
it's very cool, yeah.
I like
Forsyth has a tough rep there.
I like Grubb stuff. I like Grubb stuff.
Yeah, so do I. I had this down, Griff, as well, no, I didn't actually. Never mind. I can't remember.
All right, 2x2. Now this is funny because Shoddy would get panned for this. People hated it when he called stuff like this.
But it always is free yardage, right?
Yeah, it's free yardage. All the fancy stuff Grubb does. Occasionally, he'll just call all curls. He's like, screw it. Geno, figure it out. Half field read. If a guy wins, throw it to him. If not, dump it off to the back. And it's totally fine process.
It's 2-man, so just check it down. Well, it's actually cover 2, but...
Yeah, cover 2. And what do we get here? We just get 7 yards. Now, this is where I was commenting about Charbonnet's receiving. He's good at picking up those extra 2 to 4 or 5 yards on those middle checkdowns.
Right,
Just
like the path he takes and the contact balance.
yeah. You know who was bad at that? Marshawn Lynch. That was something he
Uh,
was never good at.
what receiving
Well, in general, yeah, but like what Charbonnet
after
just did.
catch transition?
Yeah, like he didn't get going right away.
This was unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting decision that they decide to full slide here. This can't be right.
Full slide with 5 guys. That means that Geno's hot then, right? But it's a sim, so they want you to throw hot. Now that said, the hot is open anyway, which would be Tyler. So just drop it in, drop it to him. But maybe Charbonnet was hot because Geno looks to open there. Matty, the other thing that ticks me off is that they've replaced shade with smash drive or smash levels.
What is shade, Griff?
Shade is the Geno's favorite play call, bro. You get the number one runs a go, the number two runs a quick out. Oh no. Oh no, that was the pass play. That was the pass play. I was looking at the wrong play. Anyway, never mind.
What? What are you talking about?
Never mind. Ignore me.
When was the JSN throw?
There we go. So
There's a lot of cool football going on here.
Yeah, there is. What do you think the progression here is? Is this like 9-8-9, except instead of nines, are they running read routes?
So 9-8-9 from Griff is this a 9 route, and then the 8 where he has the option to post or bend or maybe do that. Right,
yeah.
Griff?
Yeah. And the progression would be read DK, then you scan to JSN, then you scan to Tyler. It's basically the same thing as white cross. You read left to right, weak side to strong side. But what's interesting is what they do. They don't run nines. They curl up at the.
And that might be because it's 3rd and 7 and how the corners play them, like with the bail technique and.
Like if they stay on top, I sit. If they're even, I'm leaving type thing. They get safeties over the top, right? They read that.
So maybe it's like a hole type thing. Like don't run into the safety. I don't know.
But Geno quickly decides when he sees the linebackers drop out because it's like cover 6 up top and then cover 2 at the bottom.
Yeah, it's just it's a too deep
fire zone.
4 under fire zone. Yeah, so we've got quarters here, we've got a wall defender here, and then we've got cover 2 here with like a, I don't know, like
curl wall thing.
Yeah.
So he knows he's just got one zone defender to beat.
And this opening here.
Yeah.
Which is crazy real-time processing.
Yeah. Because
the backside curl almost ruins his life, but
yeah. So Geno is as on time with this as he can while managing a line that is holding but bending a little bit. Good block from Charbonnet. And this is what I was talking about, like with Matt Ryan. Like this is Matt Ryan to Julio over the middle. The deep high intermediate. It's real.
I wonder if they curled because he was thinking cover 0, maybe. I don't know.
Interesting.
Because they're showing big pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so the cool scheme that goes on is Seattle. You would understandably slide to Keon White, right? So they slide their protection here. They then have 2 here, and these guys are responsible for pass pro as well. So as we play it through, Keon White is actually the guy who Geno beats. He's dropping out, and the Pats are bringing 1, 2, 3, 4 off this side, and Seattle just has the 2 linemen. So then we need 2 more guys because they're bringing 4. We've got 2 linemen, and so it becomes the job of Charbonnet and Fant in the backfield. Fant, however, gets caught with the middle stuff, and I guess that's the correct decision because we have this guy here, unblocked. Oh no, yeah, he got caught with the wrong thing, I think. I don't know their specific rules, but for Fant to do this seems wrong. Like, why would you go to where we've got the slide? Griff, your thoughts?
Well, he might be part of the slide. It could be a full slide with him as like, with Fan as like help on a penetrator to get double. Because if all of them rush, then you would be 5-on-5 there.
Yeah.
Or you'd be 5-on-4. I mean, and maybe you want to have numbers, and then you let Charbonnet pick up the unblocked guy.
That's true.
But I don't know. Like,
anyway,
they bring him in. They short motion him in to an H-back for a reason, right?
Yeah. For the A, maybe it's just locked down on the A, but
maybe he could be A gap help, right?
Right. Anyway, it's just insane. Like, NFL quarterbacks are insane to me. Like, how is he reading all this out, sliding away from this guy who's the unblocked guy, keeping his eyes down the field, and then just banging that? It must be so fun to be able to do stuff like that.
Yeah. I think the first thing he sees is the safety bailing. He knows, okay, that's a shell. They're not driving down. That's a cover 2 shell.
Yeah, that guy. And then
he
probably
goes.
Free release on the slot. This guy's come, so I need to slide out. And then it's probably, this guy's dropped. He looks big and ugly.
Yeah, that's all I have to beat. And so he's processing that info, and he's like, well, I'm going to give the protection all the life I can give it, which he does here. And then the protection works with him. They give him all the time they can give. And he gets the ball out right before a potential strip sack right there. Like, and then the placement, right? Like, the placement can't be understated. Like, Geno's placement and anticipation on the throw is awesome. So, really, really good stuff there.
Yeah. All right. So, next week, Sunday, the Seahawks play at home to the Miami Dolphins. That did look like a very difficult matchup, and the Dolphins still have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon A-Chain, or what did you want to call him, Griff?
Ashane.
Yeah, that's that. If he wants to rebrand, that could work. And Jordan Brooks, of course, revenge game. But they're without Tua Tagovailoa. Their starting quarterback is now on injured reserve list. That means Skylar Thompson is the quarterback. Griff, what did you?
Yeah, so I think
what do you think about this?
I think things favor Seattle all in all, but watching the first half of the Dolphins game, I don't know what happened to their run game that game, but anecdotally, like, they were gashing guys on the ground. I think they had some penalties, call some run games back, but McDaniel's opening script really put the Bills on their heels, at least in run defense. They were getting a lot of looks. The second level did not know what to do.
Well, and the Bills are like intent on playing nickel 4 down, right? Like, they straight up will not play base ever, even though the Dolphins use, aren't they like 21% 21 personnel or something? Like, they'll use heavier looks like 30-40% of snaps.
Yeah. So on that note, I think McDaniel is going to like work them a little bit. I think the run defense will have a rough day, but it will be better in the second half, I also suspect. So there's that.
this is like the type of game similar to what we saw in LaFleur with Malik Willis, where it's your first opportunity to like, get freaky, like for a full game plan. So I imagine McDaniel's just gonna spray all of his bullets, and this is probably the best shot.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's their first chance of surprise as well.
Right.
Not that we haven't seen Skylar Thompson before. Like he started 2 games for the Dolphins in 2022, and also got significant action in the preceding games. I think it was week 17, week 6, and then games before that week. Anyway, but yeah, go ahead.
When it comes to arm strength and velocity, he's got a better arm than Tua. He's not necessarily more accurate. He's not the anticipator Tua is. He did hit one in breaking route with really good anticipation, splitting the hook defenders on one route. I mean, I'm not going to call him good, but like
that's your cognitive bias.
Perhaps I see a dig route against zone, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
I still haven't completely worn off from
Desmond Ridder,
the past.
Oh right.
Well, see, my Ridder love was in part.
It's okay. Yeah. He doesn't play. It's fine. He doesn't play for Miami. That was a low blow. I apologize.
Part of that was me being a reactionary, a Russell Wilson reactionary, stylistically. Anyway, I think that Skylar is like operable enough that with a full week with the ones, McDaniel's desperate. They need to win. Being 0-3 would be really bad for them. I think they're gonna.
Wow.
He's gonna unfurl all of his really nasty stuff. Also, it'll be the first time all year where Woolen and Devin and the whole secondary have seen, a top 30 receiver. And these guys are like top 15, top 10, both Waddle and Hill are. So we're gonna, even if the quarterback can't take advantage of it, the tape battle will really get a feel for how Woolen and Devin Witherspoon are matching up with guys.
Yeah.
So far, the best guy they've played is Cortland Sutton.
So, Griff, would you like to hear on the topic of this being a bit would you like to hear something also
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
Perfect. So the Seahawks injury report from Wednesday, which is the most up-to-date one we have right now, is grim reading. Uchenna Nwosu is still not practicing with the knee injury, which has kept him out the first 2 games of the season. Then Jerome Baker out with the hamstring injury, which saw him leave the road game against the Patriots early, and Tyrese Knight come in, the rookie 4th-round pick, the Will linebacker. Boye Mafe did not participate with the knee contusion that he suffered in New England. Then Kayvon Wallace, who I thought we didn't get a chance to talk about him, but he was very eager to make a play in week 2, and that saw him make some mistakes. But he did not participate with a shoulder injury. And then the big one, Griff, Leonard Williams did not participate with a knee injury.
That's not good. I don't like the sound of that.
That sounds awful. That sounds abysmal. Now, could be that, his knee has a mole on it, which needs removing. Could be very simple.
Thinking.
Right. Could also be that he's like torn his ACL. I doubt that. Let's hope not. But Leonard Williams is, when we're talking about a Dolphins run offense, which is going to be calling all the nasty bullets, and A-Chain is an incredible player, like so explosive, and will punish some shaky fits, along with all the kind of magic that McDaniel. Oh my gosh! It's the Battle of the Max, Griff.
Battle of the what?
The Max.
I don't get it.
The two coaches.
Oh, Max. Oh, when you said Max, my brain was thinking MAX, not MACS.
Oh, right. Max.
And not just the Battle of the Max, but the Mike Max.
Oh, is there Taylor, is there an updated injury report? Am I reading an outdated report for no reason? That would be embarrassing. Anyway, hopefully Leonard Williams is okay.
Okay, then, so Taylor updates us. Improvement from did not practice yesterday.
Oh, it's fine. It was a mole.
We've got a Bob to Taylor to overload information pipeline.
Perfect. Then the other news, Griff, Ken Walker didn't participate with his oblique injury,
That's not
which
good.
I guess is the main one. Yeah, they
That
kind
is
of need him.
that is not good.
And he said Rap Sheet had that tweet which was like they're taking it extra cautious with it, which implies like multiple weeks out.
Right. The Dolphins defense, I think they're due to get better, but I don't believe they're going to get better against the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks have the advantage there. They do have good run defense, that said, so far.
Jay, I think the concerning thing. Oh, sorry. Who's
no? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Jay asking, do you think Skylar Thompson scares us? If not, do you think we might be in one high looks more against Dolphins? I think McDonald really is only going to play. I mean, he'll do a bit of everything. He's obviously more too high presentation guy, but ultimately, if he needs to stop the run, he'll play one high. I think the concerning thing about the Patriots game is they were playing one high and they were just getting run on.
They were still getting gashed, which
is again where it's just a structural thing. Like
it's a feature, not a bug from the McDonald defense. At least the poor too high defense. It's ultimately it's a trade-off that he's willing to live with. It's just how bad does it need to be? They're trying to improve that. The one high run defense errors is concerning. That's not good. And you have to just think, well, they're on the road. They weren't organized, etc. It should be better at home. But I don't think they're going to want to spend a lot of time one high, regardless of who the Miami quarterback is, just because of those receivers. You have to give them respect, I think.
And then Brandon saying, what the Jets are doing to the Patriots makes me sad for our offensive line. Yeah, so the Jets are up 24-3 against the Patriots, and I think, while Seattle is 2-0, and they may well be 3-0, we do have to have some perspective on the quality of opponents they've faced. And I eagerly await a really, not that the first two games have been easy, and the Patriots was exciting because it was a definite step up from week one, but I want to see them play a real team and a real quarterback, and unfortunately, the Dolphins aren't going to bring the real quarterback part of it, but they've got some talent.
Yeah.
I think it helps Seattle that they're running the same type of defensive scheme as what Seattle faces in practice every time. The Ravens tree stuff. But anyway, Griff, anything else you want to say?
I don't know. I think that's it on the Dolphins. I hopefully this is the game where we see, again, more under center play action just to see that get going. That said, the Dolphins have good linebackers. Long is good. Brooks is obviously really good.
I'm not familiar with. I know Long. He played for West Virginia, right? I don't know about the other guy.
That said, though, the Dolphins are optimizing themselves by playing Long at Mike and Brooks at Will. They need to switch that out because it's like the same thing last year. One thing though, like if people are worried about the pass defense against Brissett, as my
some people are very worried about it. While your dog gets less worried, Griff, Storm Duck plays for Miami. A concerning dime back, Storm Duck. I don't know where Griff was going with that one, but I'm interested, along with the run game stuff, of you would think Miami will try and move the ball downfield, as offenses try to do, but you would think McDaniel, I'm getting confused between the Max. You'd think the Dolphins would try and give Thompson some layup one-read throws, which come courtesy of play action, and this may actually be the test we were wanting for Seattle's inside linebackers to prove that they can turn and find the intermediate over, or for Seattle's defense to show that they have some different coverage tools to handle those things, rather than just like Reek Willen making incredible undercut plays across the field because that's not really going to happen against a Tyreek Hill or a Waddle. Or maybe it will, and Woolen's like the quickest man ever. Griff, where are you going with your point?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to move on from the Patriots game, but the Patriots were the 17th most efficient passing team week 2. And that doesn't feel very good. Only 155 yards, right? But that's on a per snap basis. The EPA was not, it was bang average. And that doesn't feel very good given their quarterback situation, their O-line situation, and the receiver situation. So, but if you unbucket it a little bit, 2 big gains were, one was on the like that screen. And that's, in my mind, the way how I digest that screen. What?
It's just the way you're like the way I have.
Okay. The way I process that screen is that like Alex Van Pelt is just he's gonna get you on one of those because he comes from the Stefanski branch of the Shannon.
He almost got them on another one, and Hankins got a pass break up on it.
Yeah.
He was going for a touchdown, but Hankins just held the back.
And then on the leak play, that technically would have been on Dodson, but like I'm not going to hold that against Dodson because
why not?
While technically he is responsible, that can get anybody at any time, And so a huge percentage of their passing game were off of those 2 plays. Then the rest was quick game, which Brissett's going to operate quick game better than Bo Nix. That's you just kind of yield that. Mm-hmm. And then additionally, it was him creating a little bit and stuff out of structure. So I'm going to focus what they did well in structure. There were some cases where the structure broke, but the Patriots protection couldn't accommodate it. So that's, again, Seattle's pass rush being a real asset for the defense. But I just wanted to get those thoughts out of the way. I don't know how that projects forward for Miami, though. I really do think the second level will get twisted into knots by McDaniel. Will Skyler and their O-line allow them to take advantage of it, though? Because Seattle's pass rush is really, really a feather in their cap right now. But we'll see. I can't imagine they're going to play a bunch of man coverage against Miami. I would imagine not.
No, it's really interesting seeing how McDonald's defense shifts week in, week out, because the first week was so much zone. The second week's a load of man. Probably more zone this week again. And yeah, one thing which has stood out for the first 2 weeks, which does apply against Miami, is the edge pressure that McDonald manages to get against bootlegs and play action.
Right.
Like, the reason you play these fronts is so you can have wide edges. And that's certainly a thing that Seattle's benefited from in the past 2 weeks. All right. Griff, score prediction. We were pretty good last week.
I'm gonna go off the beaten path here. I'm gonna go 33-27 Seahawks.
What?
Yep.
With Skylar Thompson?
Yep.
Wow.
Screens, run game, and then a couple ones where like Hill just gets like loose.
And that's crazy.
And any quarterback could make the throw type of situation.
Griff.
And then we'll look at the tape, like, oh, if you eliminate that, if they fix this, it really wasn't as bad, but they still score 27 points. Geno just takes over. Home game in September, Geno will just take over.
I think the Seahawks win 24-17. Another one-score victory.
Okay.
I feel good about that one.
Okay. 24-17 for you, 33-27 for me.
Actually, I don't know. I think it might be closer. I said it now. All right. Thank you, chat. We appreciate you so much. Taylor, thank you for the comments on my hair. What about Griff's hair? Griff, closing wisdom. Something less, what do you call it, superficial?
Ask me next week.